It is not unusual for countries to store their gold reserves in another country. This practice started during World War II after a lot of gold was moved to avoid theft. And after the war, some countries whose governments felt that they didn't have a secure storage facility for their gold decided to store the gold in a network of different banks in countries that had secure storage facilities. One of the most prominent countries with a secure gold storage facility is the United States, which currently has the largest gold reserve in the world, with 90% of its gold belonging to other countries. This means that countries trust that their gold reserve is in safe hands with the United States. However, it seems that this trust has begun to erode as countries from Africa and the Middle East have decided to repatriate their gold reserves from the United States. What this simply means is that African and Middle Eastern countries have decided to withdraw their gold reserves, which were stored in the United States, back to their countries. Interestingly, the African countries that have decided to repatriate their gold from the US are those that are pro-US, meaning they have a very good relationship with the United States. They include Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, and Senegal. South Africa and Egypt, as well as Saudi Arabia in the Middle East, have also expressed their decision to repatriate their gold from the United States. The question now is why? Why did these countries decide to repatriate their gold at the time? Well, for Nigeria, the decision to repatriate its gold reserves from the United States is simply a proactive stance in safeguarding its wealth. And, according to the Nigerian media State Journal, this decision is in response to mounting concerns about the downturn of the U.S. economy. The publication also highlights the fact that the decision reflects Nigeria's determination to assert its sovereignty and pursue independence in the global arena. Thus, by taking control of its gold reserves, Nigeria can demonstrate its capability to manage its affairs without external interference. Ghana also gave a similar reason, with economic experts saying that Ghana's actions come at a crucial juncture amidst escalating global economic uncertainties and mounting concerns about the stability of the U.S. financial system. According to Dr. Joseph Mensah, an economist specializing in international finance, Ghana's move to withdraw its gold reserves from American vaults is a prudent measure to mitigate risks and safeguard against potential economic volatility. In other words, the decision taken by these countries shows that they are no longer sure about the stability of the American economy, and as such, the United States can no longer be regarded as a safe haven. This is not surprising given the fact that the American economy is currently deteriorating. The persistent inflation, mounting debt levels, and concerns about the Federal Reserve's ability to maintain stable monetary policy have eroded confidence in the US dollar. And, when you add all these to the current geopolitical tensions and uncertainties surrounding trade relations, you can understand why these countries had to take this crucial decision. For African and Middle Eastern nations, the move to safeguard their gold reserves is not just a matter of economic prudence, but also a strategic imperative. You see, although the gold standard was abolished decades ago, countries still decide to keep gold reserves because, as a form of insurance against economic turmoil, currency depreciation, and geopolitical instability. So, by repatriating their gold reserves, these countries aim to insulate themselves from potential financial contagion and secure their wealth within their borders. However, aside from these reasons, if you look at what is happening around the world, you will further understand the underlying reason for these countries' decisions. Let's take a look at them one after the other. In 2022, the United States took a bold decision which one can say might just be the catalyst for this current decision. With its ability to sanction any country in the world, the United States went ahead to sanction Russia, freezing all its reserves as a retaliation against Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This singular action brought to the consciousness of countries around the world that their foreign reserves with the US are probably not safe. The notion was, if it could happen to Russia, it could happen to them. And, since 2022, countries that usually kept their gold with Western countries, including the United States, the UK, and France, have been repatriating their gold reserves. So, it's not a move that started in 2024. According to a study conducted in 2023, since the sanctions imposed on Russia, more countries have been repatriating their gold. According to Jonathan Aud, president and CEO of Dakota Gold Corp., You're seeing this move from west to east, where historically speaking, a lot of Western countries have been countries where gold was stored. And this is now changing because of what happened with Russia and Ukraine and the US imposing sanctions on Russia. He also added that a lot of countries are saying, all right, we've seen your playbook. We don't want to have gold stored in other countries, he added. We want to have gold stored in our own country. So in case we have or do something that goes against your foreign policy, we don't have our gold confiscated. So, with this, you can understand why these countries needed to move their gold from the US back home. Another possible reason for countries repatriating their gold is Brics. Right now, Brics with China and Russia at its helm is driving a de-dollarization and a multipolar world campaign. And to do this, both China and Russia have been pushing for countries, especially those in the global south, to engage in international trade using local currencies instead of the dollar. Recently, China and Russia signed a trade agreement to conduct $260 billion of trade without resorting to a single American dollar. Based on the agreement, the trade deal will be initiated to settle payments in exchange for commodities purchased between the two nations. Both China and Russia will settle payments in the Chinese yuan and the Russian ruble, and not the US dollar. According to reports, 95% of the $260 billion worth of trade will be settled in the Chinese yuan, while the rest 5% will be settled in the Russian ruble and the euro. However, aside from pushing for the use of local currencies in international trade instead of the dollar, Brics is currently creating its own currency, which experts say will most likely be backed by gold. Not surprisingly, since 2023, Brics members have been buying gold in huge quantities, no doubt in preparation for something huge. Now, if you observe closely, some of these countries that recently expressed their intention of repatriating their gold from the US are either those that have expressed their desire to join Brics, such as Nigeria and Senegal, or are already members of the Brics alliance, such as Egypt and Saudi Arabia. So, you see, everything is connected. However, the question is, will these countries get their gold back? Well, to answer this question, let's take a look at a country that tried to repatriate its gold from the United States. During the Cold War, Germany kept a huge amount of its 3,378 tons of gold in New York, London, and Paris to avoid it falling into the hands of the Soviet Union. However, in the wake of the US subprime crisis and the emergence of the Eurozone debt crisis in 2012, calls were made in Germany for its gold to be audited in 2013. About 1,136 tons of Germany's gold is stored in a vault 15 meters below sea level. However, a leaked report by Germany's Federal Audit Office revealed that the Federal Reserve Bank of New York refuses to allow Germany's staff to even view the gold. This triggered suspicions and theories, including that the United States had sold the gold, lent it out, or the New York vault was empty. These suspicions resulted in calls and demands that Germany's gold be returned to the country. After much delay and secret meetings, the US told Germany it would take 7 years for them to get their gold back. However, in 2017, Germany reported that they had successfully gotten half of their gold from the United States. But there have been rumors that the reason why it took so long for Germany to get half of its gold back is because the US had probably sold Germany's gold bars years ago and hurriedly bought some back as Germany came knocking. Now, whether this is true or not is not exactly clear. But what is clear from this is that the United States would do all it can to slow down this process in several African states. If it took 4 years for Germany to get half of its gold, it might probably take double that time for African countries to get their gold back. And this is okay, the assumption that they will even get back to the gold. However, all these happenings indicate that the United States is slowly losing its standing as the leader of the world. Countries have begun to lose trust in their systems. Even its ally, France, has said that Europe may die and must reduce its dependence on the United States. The question is, where will the US be in a decade from now? Will it still retain its position as a world power, or will it have been dethroned? And what is the implication for African countries, especially those who are still pro-US? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video.